is because it actually gets body blocked. So when I'm going very aggressive on these guys, right? It's fantastic that it stops on them and it roots them and it puts in all this work. But if I'm trying to get away and then a target steps in front of me, it is still going to stop me from getting there. Hello everybody, Incon here with your Medusa ADC guide. We're going to be starting off with a leather cowl, as well as tier 1 going into Transcendence. Grab ourselves a couple of health and multi-pot and our beads. So on Medusa, I like to embrace a little bit more power action. I like the Transcendence on her. It also helps with some of her mana problems. Also, Transcendence tends to pair very well with Leather Cowl because Leather Cowl gives you a bunch of great stats, but the one thing it is lacking in is that mana return that you're going to get from the Death Toll. Death Toll for me, not quite as strong as it was in the past. It's got nerfed a couple of times now. It's still a viable item, but in general, I do prefer the Leather Cow now over Death Toll for the most part on my hunter. So we're gonna be getting our 2 first on Medusa. This is our main form of lane clear, and wow, what is this red buff doing? And the ability that we are also going to max out first. Medusa does not have the best lane clear. Another reason why I like the Transcendence on her, because the extra power tends to help her in the early stages of the game. Wow, we actually got credit for basically that entire wave. So I'm actually going to move up very aggressive into this enemy Athena. And I'm going to dash right into her, and I'm going to grab myself that first blood. Medusa has really good early fight potential, because all of her abilities are going to do damage. So at level 2, I grab my 3, which is our movement ability, Lacerate. It does damage when it hits the target. It's also going to root them and provide a healing reduction. That makes her incredibly dangerous in the early stages of the game, because it's gonna reduce your potions that are healing on you. It's gonna get you to stand still for a couple of autos, plus it's gonna do that damage. So it's really an incredibly efficient ability at this stage of the game. Later on in the game, you don't typically want to use it quite as aggressively, but early on, all about that aggression. At level 3, I am going to get my 1. My 1 is gonna provide me with enhanced auto attacks. The way that you want to be using this ability on Medusa typically is you want to auto attack and then click it. So watch what happens when I auto attack and then click this. Auto click. I'm going to immediately start auto attacking again. It is a auto attack reset, so you can actually get your auto attacks off faster with Medusa if you make sure to use it right after a regular auto, because you're going to get the regular auto, plus then you start going into your 1. So it's basically like a 2-for-1 auto deal. Exact same concept when you're like playing Dodgy and you want to use her 1. You want to auto attack right before, then use it, so that way you get like a little double love tap. Just going to give you a little bit more extra damage off of it. So for our official level order here on Medusa, it is going to be 4, 2, 1, 3. So I'm going to rank up my ultimate whenever I can. I'm going to try to stick around and help out my Athena here a little bit, because I can see that my Wheelix is on the way over. I'm going to try to use these creeps as a little building block to get some damage over there on the Athena. I'm going to auto attack, dash in, and be able to finish up that kill as well, using my dash right there as an auto attack cancel, just like I did with my 1 earlier. So I autoed, then immediately dashed, which resets my auto attack timer, so that I can get the auto off immediately again when I land on him. So we rank up the ulti first, because this is gonna increase the slope, also the damage. Then our 2 for the lane clear. Then our 1, because our 1 is going to increase the the damage as well as the attack speed that we get from this, and then finally ranking up our 3. So I'm going to get some attack speed boots going here, and I'm also going to buy a mana pot just because, like I said, I do not have great mana consumption here in the early game until I get that Transcendence finished, which I am going to get going next. On Medusa, you have your 3 as one of the better, if not maybe the best, aggressive hunter getaway abilities. It is extremely good when you're using it in an aggressive manner. It's not so good as a getaway skill compared to some other hunters, and the reason is because it actually gets body blocked. So when I'm going very aggressive on these guys, right, it's fantastic that it stops on them and it roots them and it puts in all this work. But if I'm trying to get away and then a target steps in front of me, it is still going to stop me from getting there. So that means that it's pretty easy to, if you're getting like ganked by an assassin or something, for you to kind of just get walked in front of, and then you try to use your getaway skill, and then it gets body blocked. So it's much better as an aggressive ability than it is as a defensive ability. So I'm going to back up, continue to work on my Transcendence. On Medusa, you typically want to save your ultimate a little bit. You basically have 2 ways that you're using your ultimate on Medusa, and it's either to start a fight or finish a fight. You very rarely use it right in the middle. You're gonna start a fight with it if you feel like you've got a good chance of hitting people to the face. That'll give you that bonus damage as well as the stun. So if you're coming around a corner into a team fight and you think it's gonna be sneaky enough for you to start channeling it, and you're going to be able to start off with that big burst damage, that's fantastic. Otherwise, it is your longest ranged ability.
Attack left lane.
And if you do not have to use it earlier on, that's much better. Because then if they try to use their dashes to actually get away, you can use your ultimate to catch up to them, because your ultimate is very long range, but it's also a slow on top of that. So you can use it to catch up. So that's why oftentimes you'll see Medusas hold their ultis and use it at the very end so they can go ahead and catch up off of it. Now, a couple of tricks here with Medusa ulti. One, you want to typically use it around corners if you can. Gonna back up here, get my Transcendence, and I do need to get these wards out. Preferably sooner than later. Another thing that you need to learn to do with Medusa ulti is you have to learn to whip it. So Medusa ultimate is really clear when she's ulting you, when she's looking right at you, but the animation isn't necessarily super clear when she's not looking right at you. So if I wanted to like ulti this Cupid Athena, what I would do is I would actually look this way, start channeling it, and then whip it back over, which is gonna let me hit that Cupid because it's hard to see that that is actually happening. That is the exact perfect scenario that you're going for. So you wanna start channeling it, looking a different direction, and then whip it back at the last second, so that way it's a lot harder for the enemy team to avoid. The less reaction time you can give to the enemy team for your Medusa ult, the better chance you have to absolutely slap them with it, and it is one of the better hunter ultimates in the entire game. For our third item here, I'm going to grab myself an Aussie. I'm going to get myself some nice healing off of it, and it's going to scale really well with us because we're going to be going into crit as our 4th item with a rage. Now, you can also get your crit right here as your 3rd item. We do have the leather cowl for a little bit of sustain. It's not a ton, but it is a little bit right now. Later on, paired with the Aussie, it's actually going to give us a ton of lifesteal. So if you want to go the third item Rage and then the fourth item Aussie, you can do that as well. And then, of course, we'll have ourselves a nice Wind Demon for the crit, and we can sell for more pen if we need to by grabbing ourselves something like a Dominance or a Titan's Bane if we feel like we need more percentage pen. But their team is actually fairly squishy, and we've got a nice XP lead right now, which means we're going to get more value out of more raw damage from something like a crit than necessarily percentage penetration. So I'm gonna try to use my ulti right here to get kind of out of that Cupid ult. They were coming right for me. Thanatos is in the air, so I'm gonna try to save my beads right here and then dash away after he ultis on me. And it looks like with some good peel from my Athena, I should be able to get out of this one as well. Now, Thanatos can see me on the map. Keep in mind that Thanatos' passive lets him see you. He has that like pulsing moment on you. So he knows exactly where I am. So I'm going to start backing underneath this tier 2, but I think he's going to blink for me. So I'm going to be ready to dash away if I need to. There it is. So that way I can kind of bait him into this tier 2 tower. Athena comes around, probably hits him with a taunt, and we should be able to actually pick up those kills right there from that bait. Important to know other gods' kits so you can kind of predict how they are going to play around you. Now, I feel like I'm going to start getting focused a little bit, so I'm going to grab myself a couple more wards, and I'm going to start working on the Aussie to have that lifesteal so that they can't go for those styles of plays. For our matchups in lane and our opponents that we want with us, we love the Athena combo with Medusa. Medusa wants people to have to look at her, so Athena taunting and forcing them to look in a certain direction is fantastic. We much prefer teammates that can help support us on Medusa, provide a lot of CC. Athena's the easiest combo because Athena taunts. Then we use our ulti. They're staring right into the Medusa ult. They take so much damage, and then they get CC'd for even longer. For gods that we don't typically like to go against on Medusa, Medusa doesn't like disarms. A huge part of her kit, obviously, as a hunter, is auto attacks, but even more so than that, she has her 1, and her 1 provides her with a ton of damage as well as that auto attack cancel. So if you're not getting values out of the auto attack cancel because you're disarmed, you're going to lose a big part of Medusa's kits. So gods like Bellona tend to do very well against Medusa. Walls tend to do well against Medusa because she does not have a leap. She only has a dash. So gods like Ymir and Thor and Odin and Woojer can be annoying. And in general, frontline characters tend to be annoying for Medusa. Anybody that can survive through her auto attacks, anybody that can survive through her abilities. Because if you get people all up in your face in melee range, like a Ymir, not only can he wall you off, he can also body block your dash. Really not that hard to body block Medusa's dash, and once that gets body blocked, then you're in a lot of trouble. For our standard combination on Medusa, we're typically gonna start off just trying to get into our regular auto attack range, try to land an auto attack, and then proc our 1 for that extra little auto attack. I'm gonna stay here and finish up this tower. If we had minions nearby, we can also start off by using our acid spray for a little bit of AoE damage before we start, but there won't always be minions there. So we can start off with our acid spray, get those autos going. After our acid spray, we follow up with our 1 and our dash, and then we just go for the auto attacks. And if they're going to be able to get out of our range, we finish them up with our ulti, which is once again why we save that ulti for last most of the time when we're going for those individual fights. So you got the tier right there. Started off with the 2, follow up with your 1-3, and then finish them with the ultimate as they try to run away.
Ally has been slain.
All right, we're gonna back up. We're gonna finish our Aussie right here, and we're gonna start working on our crit. Pretty much, you should always be going Rage right now as your first crit item. you're gonna see a lot of rage plus wind demon for the crit right now builds. You get a lot of actual crit chance out of this, plus you're gonna get the percent pen from the wind demon, and you get the extra movement speed, the extra auto attack speed from the wind demon as well. They just pair really, really well together. You can also get the Deathbringer if you want to. The thing about the Deathbringer is that's a triple crit build. You typically don't have room for triple crit if you're gonna go the leather cowl. If you're gonna go the Death's Embrace, you're gonna have earlier mana sustain, so you don't need the Transcendence necessarily, and you're also gonna be able to just use the Death's Embrace as your one lifesteal item, so you don't have to go down the Aussie path either, which opens up a little bit of those build slots for some other items. So you just gotta keep that in mind, but for the most part, we'll be grabbing Rage and that wind demon. I'm playing a little ring around the rosy here with Athena. I don't really want to dash until I feel like she's getting a little bit too far away. That way I can keep it up just in case I need to use it as a getaway skill. Right about the 10-minute marker, you should probably stop using your dash as a super aggressive ability and start to think of it more as a defensive ability. If you keep using it very aggressively, you're gonna find yourself getting caught out and then not having your getaway skill up in order to help you. Same thing with like a Cernanos. Cernanos can afford to use it very, very aggressive early. But as you get later and later into the game, you have to start to use it more and more and more defensively because you'll be putting yourself out of position and you'll be liable to get one shot. Vroom, vroom, baby. Gotta head over here, grab ourselves this Greater Scorpion so we can start to get these camps spawning. Gotta have that Gold Fury spawning in 30 seconds, and I can honestly probably just start it right on up when it does, because I do have a decent amount of life steal. Medusa is a kind of a PvP focused hunter. Her early game lane clear is where she struggles the most, so pairing her with somebody that's got decent lane clear but can also be aggressive works well for her. So we have the Athena, which is a natural pairing. I also really like Ares with her because Ares can yoink people and pull them into a position where they're also getting smashed by the Medusa ulti. I also like the Ymir pairing with her because if you wall somebody off and then inherently they kind of have to turn around and look away from the wall to keep going, it also tends to turn them around into your Medusa ultimate. Also, all of those gods are going to come with some fairly decent in-game in-lane clear, and that in-lane clear is going to be very, very beneficial for you. Medusa not necessarily known for her early lane clear. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get in range of this ultimate, but I am, because he's gonna try to turn around and hit me with that hard bomb at just the last second. So we're gonna be able to get in range of that ulti, and now I need to back up and get my rage going. And then I'm gonna save the rest of my money because I'm almost level 20, so I wanna make sure I can get the Hunter's Cowl as soon as humanly possible. Medusa is also a very good team fight hunter. Because of her ultimate, she does have good AoE with her acid spray as well. So that puts her into a good spot as you move into the late stages of the game. The hardest part for her is just getting out of the early game if the enemy team has way, way better clear than you. If the enemy team has way better clear and they're pushing you back under tower and you get a little bit behind early, that's what you need to be the most scared about. But if you can get out of that early laning phase ahead or even, by the time you move into the team fight stage, you're going to be massive and have no issues whatsoever. She's extremely good at 1v1ing because all of her abilities do damage. Not to mention, she reduces the healing of enemy hunters because of her 3. So if you're using that aggressive in the 1v1 and they're trying to rock some life steal, whether it's a Devo gloves or a leather cowl or an Aussie or an embrace or whatever, it's going to be reduced by 50%. So just that right there built into your kit really gives you an incredibly strong 1v1. The one thing you do have to be careful for though is walls blocking your ulti. So something like a Ymir is pretty straightforward, but something that people don't really necessarily think about too is like a and her pillar. Anher actually has a very good matchup into Medusa because he can pillar, which can entirely stop your ultimate. All he has to do is stand right behind it. Also should be noted that any god that has a leap can actually just jump over your ulti. So it does have a fairly decent channel time. And so if they know that your ulti is coming, there's a good chance that they actually just jump right over it. And her, once again, this is something that he can do. He can jump right over your ulti as you are casting it. So you have to be careful for that. And he also has a CC immune ulti, which means if he wants to, he can actually just start channeling his own ultimate right into your own ultimate if he's feeling confident that he can actually win that matchup. So watch out for some of those CC immune ultis and those jumps. Other than that, though, you've got a really good 1v1, even into somebody like a Danzaburo. His ultimate takes a while to channel. And so you can actually use your ultimate as a counter to his, right? He tries to go ahead and Rocket Man right on into you. You go, nah, man. You start channeling your ulti right as he hits you. That means you're CC immune, and now he's got to worry about your ultimate coming back at him. So a lot of the times it comes down to who uses that ultimate second. I would say that Anher really is the biggest problem for you on Medusa as far as other hunters go. Now I've got a lot of crit, a lot of lifesteal. I'm gonna head over towards this fire giant side. I'm gonna get this sentry ward down. And I'm just gonna go ahead and start doing the pyromancer. If my Poseidon comes over, we can actually probably start doing the actual fire. I'm gonna start tanking it. I've got the Aussie and the Hunter's Cowl, so I can tank this and take very little damage. And if I do actually end up getting low, I've got that Aussie proc that will just keep me back at full health. Aussie plus crit is stupidly good. Stupidly good. It's been a fantastic combo for forever. It is a fantastic combo to this day. When you're low in HP, right, you're gonna get that Aussie proc. You get an additional 30% lifesteal on the fact that it already gives you 20, right? So that's 50% lifesteal, not including the fact that we've got our leather cow. So we've got that 65% lifesteal when we get that proc. 65% lifesteal. Now we're slapping, right? We're getting a bunch of lifesteal based off of our damage. Well, now our damage is critting. And so we've got extra damage on top of our extra lifesteal, which is giving us extra lifesteal on top of our extra damage. It's a win, 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 win all around. And if the enemy team does not have anti-heal, I promise they are going to feel that one in the morning. Now we've got this one Phoenix down. We've got 5 people left. We can probably just go straight for the Titan at this point. Just waiting for a couple of creeps, a couple people to come in on this one. Our last item here would have been that Wind Demon for the additional crit, as well as starting to get some pen. And then later on in this game, if I would have sold my boots, I would have, of course, sold those and gotten another percentage pen item, as they would have started to catch up, started to get a little bit tankier, and that probably would have been either the Dominant or the Titan's Bane. Titan's Bane is actually a pretty good item right now. I think it's underrated, just in terms of the penetration that it's providing on all things. And as Medusa, you are kind of an ability-ish based hunter, so you can actually get a lot of value out of that extra penetration that it's going to be providing you on your ultimate if you're going to start off a big team fight with it, guys. And that is our Medusa ADC. Thank you for supporting the Twitchiest community. If you'd like to see more videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and always hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you for all your support and have a Twitchin' day, y'all.